Beautiful, wonderful seekers of the truth. I drew this reverse Four of Cups the other day, and I'm just writing about this. Brought up a few things. And this is this card of a guy who's crossing his arms over his heart and kind of blanking out or ignoring to some extent that angelic offering of a cup coming from the cloud in front of his face. And it's, it represents this inability that we have, maybe in general, but maybe sometimes more than the others. Definitely when this card comes up, it's a time to look into that. But this inability to see the gifts that life is offering us and that the universe is presenting for us, and how challenging they may be, and how we kind of unconsciously blank them out because they represent something that's a little bit scary, that requires us to open our hearts more and to be more vulnerable and to be a little bit more exposed, and consequently we fear them. And because we fear them, we won't even see them, or we'll get good at denying that they're there, or we'll pretend they're one thing when they really can be much more. And the potential that fourth cup offers us is a potential which requires us to step into a different, let's say, a different level of feeling, or maybe even we need to upgrade our emotional capacity and our emotional intelligence, and that's challenging. We usually have desires, and we're conscious of the desires that we have about, finding more love, finding greater passion, finding more affluence or abundance, or finding more of something. We want to level ourselves up. We want to have more self-awareness. We want to be more conscious of ourselves. We want to be less stressed. We want to be more healthy. We want some improved version of ourselves, some up-leveled version of ourselves. And this card speaks about the necessary to be willing to take on a different level of openness and a different level of receptivity. And it's a level of receptivity where we're asking the universe to give us more feeling, and that isn't always comfortable. And so with this card, there is quite a natural resistance, and I call it natural even though it's a conditioned one. And it's an unconscious resistance that we'll probably need to move through in some way. And I kind of relate to this, and I see that, even in my own life, I want more of some things, but am I willing to go to that emotional space? Am I willing to take myself to a level of vulnerability? Am I willing to break old habits and expose myself more emotionally, express myself more emotionally, feel more into the dark and the light? Because the emotional waves are as much down as they are up, which is why we're afraid of them. And am I willing to go there? Am I willing to feel? Do I feel mature enough to be able to take on that fourth emotional cup? And 4 from 3 is quite an up-leveling. It's quite a little bit more. There's another card which I see in a similar way, which is the 9, and the 4 takes us to the 5, and the 9 takes us to the 10, to the completion. And there's this message which says, hey, are you ready? Are you really ready? Do you want it enough to be able to share yourself more, to be able to feel more of who you can be? Because unless we really do open up our hearts and feel ourselves to be the greater versions of ourselves, then it's going to be very difficult to manifest that truth. I'd love to hear your comments on this. I'd love you to like and subscribe and all those wonderful things, but more than anything, find the peace and find the willingness to open up your hearts. All the best.